Shalom. First, I'd like to say, call Haloyim, La Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Wachah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of the Great Millstone who rule and teach well. Shalom to you fellow laborers out there doing the work in truth and in sincerity, especially during these times. Shalom also to the few Akwap that believe as well. A hearty shalom to you other laborers and believers that are scattered abroad throughout the face of the earth, even if you're among the heathen, and even like the heathen who are the speckled bird Israelites. To the household of faith, which is the elect, I want to say shalom. I'm in transit, ride, it's raining, so Lord willing, you can hear me. I had some thoughts on my mind just through the Spirit. I'm just going to throw it up there. Lord willing, it's edifying and exhorting to you, Akim, and you few Akwap that may be listening, tuning in. With everything's going on in the news, how the Lord is revealing the wicked, which is Esau, Edom. All right. Let's start with the elites of Edomites, the banking families, on down to the ones that sit in the public offices, the presidents, diplomats, all that stuff, the billionaires, which are the princes, basically, the Lord is showing you that this system that we're living in, and the society that we're living in, is an unrighteous society. And here it is, Jake still want to, dwell here in Babylon the Great, when it's rigged against you. The whole system, the whole way of life in itself, it's all rigged against you, and it's all made to oppress you. And this is something we've been telling you, our people are all this time, from the apostles on down, about how this man Esau, he's wicked, and how he's going to oppress you and make sure you're on the bottom. All right, and make sure that you're at a disadvantage. All right, because contrary to any popular opinion or belief, the so-called white man is ruling. Okay, there's no need for a Security Council meeting. All right, Esau is ruling, man. That's why he's able to do the things he's doing, man. The regime change. All right, which is murdering different leaders of the countries. Stealing the resources, and nothing's ever done about it. You know what I mean? Because it's in the power of his hand. And I'm just going to quote some scriptures, of course. I'm in transit driving. But Micah 2:1 says what? That it's in the power of his hands. And that's the reason why he's able to do the things he's doing, man. Okay? And does Esau have a law? Yeah, he got a law. But it's only made to oppress you so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American people, man, which are the Israelites. Meanwhile, he gets to get off with all kinds of shit, man, even murder. But his laws that he do make and pass, in the House and Senate, and it goes into, legislation and whatever, it's all made to oppress you Israelites, man. So-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, man. So you don't got a fair shake no matter how you look at it, you know what I mean? And no matter how much he showed you that, you still want to remain here under his rule, man, which is madness, When you know the truth, that's madness to want to stay here in spiritual Egypt, man. And this is the mindset of our people. They would rather stay here, in spiritual Egypt, because everything about this place reminds you of old Egypt. As far as like us being oppressed, They put rigorous labors upon us, you know, and basically they were trying to kill off our children as well, man. You know, they were trying to kill off all the boys. They were trying to cut us off of the nation, you know, pretty much. Remember, Pharaoh put the order out to kill the Hebrew boys, you know, because why? They were trying to cut us off as, from being a nation, man. And the same thing goes for Esau, Edom. Everything in this society is geared to cut us off from being a nation, man. From the food you eat, to the air you breathe, to the water you drink, man. Even the fruit, man. You know, you try to eat healthy and be healthy, but really, man, everything is defiled, man. You know? And with that being said, Jake still want to be here. Jake still want to remain here in Babylon, you know? And this happened when the Lord led our foreparents out of old Egypt. Jake would rather stay under the rule of the Egyptians, which the Edomites are the modern day Egyptians. I quoted Revelation 11, this is spiritually Sodom in Egypt. And Jake would rather stay under the hand of Pharaoh than to, lean and depend on the Lord. And that's the mindset of our people, man. It's sad. It's sad to see, but it is what it is, man. And this is why the Lord has an elect, man. We ain't got to go through the same thing Moses went through when he was being, set up to lead us out of Egypt. Our people, they murmured against Moses, man. They murmured against Moses, because they thought that they had the better. Uh-oh, Slacky, Lord, really could hit me. But yeah, they thought they had it better under the Egyptians, than to, basically be led from under, the hand of the Egyptians from oppressing us and enslaving us. Jake would rather have it, where they're being oppressed versus being, freed and having, our own land and our own laws, which the Heavenly Father gave us laws, man, which are righteous laws. Yet they would rather live under Esau's unrighteous decrees, And that's how our people are, man. They're stubborn, they're stiff-necked, man. You name it. And this is why the Lord has an elect, The Lord has an elect for a reason. Because he ain't gonna suffer us to dwell here in Egypt. All right? He's gonna ultimately, return us to that land that he gave to our forefathers again. Okay? He's going to recover us or redeem us from under the hand of our enemies, that oppress us and hate us and try to do away with us. The Lord's going to literally put us over them, and we're going to enslave them. And they're going to build up our kingdom. They're going to build up the land of Israel again. And then we'll have life in abundance, These are the things that the Lord has promised to us. And the Lord don't break his promises, Which is a beautiful thing because, and the Lord have always been faithful to us. You go in the scriptures and you look at our history, of our forefathers, all the different righteous judges we had that stood up and lived before the Lord, that feared the Lord. Hey, the Lord always delivered them, because as the scriptures say, what? Hey, the Lord know how to deliver the righteous from the ungodly, and that's our hope, brothers. All right, that's our hope. And you few sisters out there, That's our hope, man. That we're those elect Israelites whom the Lord is going to, gather us, take us back to our land, and cause us to rule over our oppressors, our enemies, man. All right? That's the most beautiful thing about knowing this truth. Knowing that this is not the end. This is not the end all be all, Even though some Jake, even though some Jake are actors though, through their actions and do what they do, But the truth is this. The Lord has the elect, which is the 144,000, the governing body of the kingdom of heaven, whom going to be under Yahweh Shai. All right, and also you're going to have King David in the kingdom. All right, that's a part of the elect, and we're going to reign with Yahweh Shai and usher in the kingdom that's going to be totally righteous, We won't have to be sick no more, suffer under these unrighteous decrees and living in fucking ghettos and, I forgot you said in Spanish, like barracus or favelas. You ain't gonna have to live in poverty no more, man. Period, man. Okay? We ain't gonna live in poverty, man. All right? Right now, our people live in poverty. And we see what poverty feel like. This whole thing have been a learning lesson for us, And just like your train here. This whole thing have been a learning lesson, for us Israelites, man. Okay? On how not to rebel. All right? But be obedient to Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. And though we messed up with Yahweh Shai, the blessing that we got coming was the kingdom, first of all, and well, for the elect, and Lord willing, I'm part of the elect. The first part of that blessing is being granted salvation, man. Because that's the reward we're looking for, man. The reward of salvation, being saved from the destruction, and actually see the destruction of our enemy's kingdom. That's going to be a beautiful sight, But in the kingdom, where we're going to be immortal, we're going to never die. We're going to be righteous because the Lord's going to program us to have His laws and commandments and statutes and judgments within us. You're going to take away that stony heart and give us a fleshly heart, basically. So we got a beautiful end, for us Israelites, man. We have a beautiful end. We have something to look forward to. Like it says in Ecclesiastes 12, right? How these people look out the windows, all right, with no hope. Meaning what? There's no future to look forward to. See, us Israelites that believe, we have an assured hope. All right? Which that assured hope entails the kingdom that's at hand. Where we're going to have everything, man. Everything that we lack, we're going to have it in great abundance. We're going to have it in great abundance, man. And that's the mercy of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai, man. To be able to go to these many mansions in our Father's house, which we're going to be able to, space travel, something that Esau can't do. That's going to be an awesome life, man, that we're going to live, man, forever and ever. It ain't going to never end, That's beautiful, man. Something we got, awaiting us, in the kingdom to come, which is, it's almost here, Yeah, we weep, we mourn about things that we lack, but rest assured, man, hey, the things we lack, man, it's gonna be all worth it, man. When we're sitting in the kingdom, hugging one another, really living in mirth, we're gonna have real mirthful times in the kingdom, joyous times, real laughter, all your people gonna be righteous, keeping the customs perfectly, living before Yahweh Shem Yahushai perfectly clean. You ain't gonna be all defiled and shit. I look forward to that. Bringing your lineage back. They're gonna be our children. We're gonna sit back and just rule, man, with total authority, and righteousness, man. We're gonna know what it's really like to be royal. All right, because the Lord's gonna make that that royal priesthood, all right, come to pass, man. Okay, there's gonna be the fulfillment of that, the nation of kings and priests. So we have more than hope to look forward to. We have basically have everything in righteousness to look forward to, man. You ain't gotta worry about your neighbor, man, to look at your neighbor and say, hey, man, you going off. What you doing? Nah. Everybody's gonna be righteous, man. That's the beautiful thing, man. We have to make the heathen keep our laws, which they the laws of the Lord, but it says that that the nation's gonna, seek the power of Jacob, man, and actually teach us of his ways. So we're gonna have to teach the heathen how to live righteous, man. And that's the beautiful thing about knowing this truth, man. So, hey, Lord willing, this in transit have been edifying to the flock, man. I want to give all honor, glory, and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Ruach HaKodesh. Hey, Lord, when it's been edifying and exalting to your spirit, for those you may have listened and tuned in, I'm gonna bid you a shalom, and Lord willing, soon, man, we're gonna be in the kingdom. Just hold on to your hope, hold on to your faith, and Lord willing, we all that of the elect, those of us that labored in truth and in sincerity, and Lord willing, man, we will be in the kingdom soon, man. With that, Ahabatham, Yahweh Shem Shabbat Shalom.